Welcome to WP Theme Tutorial, episode 44. Today we're going to look at styling comments by a user's role. Before we do that, I'd like to encourage you to join the email list. You can find that right on the home page, under email list, on the sidebar. I'm developing some new products, and I'm going to ask for some feedback, and you'll get some discounts, and you'll get some advance notice even for even better pricing on items. So if you join there, basically I'm going to give you some extra stuff. So like I said, our goal today is to style comments by the role of the user. Here you can see I've got three roles. Or three comments by different roles. A comment as an admin, a comment as an author, and a comment as an editor. And if we inspect this, I'll shrink it, you can see that this has a bunch of classes applied to comment. With this case of stock WordPress roles, it actually does get a class appropriate to it. So you can see comment author admin, comment author author role, comment author editor role. So that's fine if you're just working with the WordPress stock roles. But here's a demo here on a client site. You can see here that blue, this comment here, is a special role. And if you look here, it just says comment by user, comment author Gwen, thread even, thread alt, depth. It doesn't actually say their role until we get to the end where it says team founder. That is their role. And you can see above it says registered misbehavior. And this is where I actually developed this code for. For any non-stock roles, you're not going to get a class on the comment that allows you to style it. So what we're going to do is pretend this doesn't exist, the stock role classes, and we're going to add our own. And that way you can do that for any custom roles that you have. So what are we working with? Well, right now I've got the functions.php file open of the stock 2012 theme in the standard WordPress build. Nothing special about it. I imported I built out some extra content, but that's it. That's all we have here. So let's get started by grabbing our first function. It's actually going to take two functions to do this today. So our first function here is hooked to comment class. And with our comment class, we're going to call the function WPTT roles to classes. And we're calling with a priority of 10, and then 4 means that we're going to pass 4 parameters through. So you have classes, class, comment ID, and post ID. The first thing we need to do is take the comment ID and get the whole comment object out of it. The reason we need the comment object is the next thing that we need is the user ID. And the comment object contains the user ID of the user that posted the comment. Now, if the user was not subscribed or signed into the blog at the time, then you're going to get back a user ID of 0. So that's the next thing we do is we check if user ID is 0, then if the user ID does not equal 0, that's what this says. So if it's anything but 0, we're going to continue to go through this code here. If it is 0, we'll just return the classes here at the bottom. So the next thing we do is we're going to get our role out of a special function, which we'll go over in a second, called WPTT get user role, and we pass that the user ID. And then we're going to check to make sure that they have a role. So if it's set and it's not empty, or if it's not set or empty, then we're just going to return the stock classes. Otherwise, we append our role to the classes. So let's look at our other custom function we need, and this is where we actually get the role out of. So this is our custom function. The first thing it does is check to make sure we have a user ID set. If there's no user ID, we're just going to return null. And that's why back up here you can see I checked if it's set and make sure it's not empty. So if this is called any other way, if this is called by another function later or anything else and it's not giving us the user ID, we're just going to kill it. We don't want to do anything with that. The next thing we're going to do is create a new user object by calling the WP user class. And we call our WP roles class and make our variable WP roles equal to it. And out of the WP roles class that we just grabbed, we grab all the names by using the getNames method. And then we're going to define an array called out. Now this next chunk of code looks a little complex, but really all it does is it loops through the roles on our user and matches it against names. When it gets a name, it matches it to the out, and it's just going to give us an array of the role, or I guess of the single role, because in WordPress a user can only have one role. So it's just going to give us an array of the role. The key will be the registered name in WordPress, which is lowercase and underscore, and then it'll have the value of the written one. So for an administrator, the key typically is administrator, all lowercase, one word, because administrator is only one word, and the visual view that we see, or the visual name, is capital A administrator. So what we really need for a class is just the key, because the key is going to be one word all the time. In our example for that client, we had team founder. Team founder is 2 words when a user gets to see it, but really to WordPress, it's a 1 word with an underscore in the middle. So we're going to use the PHP function key to send just the first one back to us, and you're only going to have one. We jump back up, that would mean, so once we have our key filled in the out and sent back to our role variable, we just append it to the classes, and then we get our role on the other end. So let's go back and refresh. I'll shrink this, and you can see at the end here I have administrator, author, and editor. Great. Now to style it. So we'll just throw a quick style in here to prove that this works. We're doing .comment, .author, background is going to be, that's it, something real simple. And you can see my author role now has a gray background. Like I said at the beginning, this is really only useful for you, or something you need to do if you're going to use custom roles in WordPress. If you're using the stock roles, then there are comment classes supplied for you. Why didn't I put this in a plugin? I don't really think this is big enough code for a plugin. It's something that you grab and put in your own plugin for other functionality. I simply used a theme today to demo it for you. I would say 99% of the time, this is going to be in a plugin with a whole bunch of other functionality that you need. Thanks for watching.